morning, holy brothers and sisters! For the 9th of NISAN in the Kitzur Likutei Moharan, today's lesson will be called Dirty Dealings. There exists a trust of the other side which is described by the phrase, the trust of the unfaithful, Proverbs 25:19, by joining together holy couples for the purpose of procreation, which in turn is associated with trust and with the kidneys, which are the organs of procreation, as in, her husband's heart trusts in her, Ibid 31:11, the trust of the other side is thereby shattered, like an earthenware dish. This idea is alluded to by the custom of breaking an earthenware dish at the time a wedding match is made, and is expressed by the verse, because you put all your trust in fraud and corruption, therefore this sin will be for you like a crumbling breach in a high wall. It will break the way a potter's vessel is mercilessly smashed, and there will not be found among these pieces a shard big enough to carry a coal for the fire. Isaiah 30:12-14. The essence of the attribute of trust is that a person should trust in God and do good, as it is written, trust in God and do good, Psalms 37:3. In other words, a person should not be distracted from his Torah study and his spiritual devotions due to worries and preoccupation of his livelihood. Rather, he should engage in Torah and devotion, and he should trust that God will sustain him all the days of his life. If he does not possess the level of trust necessary to divorce himself entirely from worldly affairs, and he also wishes to engage in trade or in a craft, he should nonetheless set fixed times for Torah study, pray at the proper time, and so on, and he should not worry or be distracted by the worries over his livelihood. Instead, he should trust in God. Furthermore, regarding giving charity, performing acts of kindness, and spending money to fulfill mitzvahs, a person should have trust in God that he will supply him with what he lacks, and that for this thing, i.e. charity, God will bless him, Deuteronomy 15:10. And even if a person himself knows that his deeds are not what they should be, he should not fall from his trust because of this, saying, "Who am I to trust in and to rely on God after I've done so much wrong?" Rather, he should trust in God's inexhaustible loving kindness and in his compassion, which never ceases, trusting that God will have compassion on him and will sustain him and support him too, because God is good to all. Psalms 145:9. A person should not trouble himself with worries and preoccupation over his livelihood due to his own sense of inferiority. Instead, whoever he is, he should fortify himself with trust, since his intention is for the sake of heaven. This type of approach is known as holy trust. On the other hand, when a person involves himself in any sort of shady dealings, God forbid, not to mention when he steals or cheats or engages in any sort of falsification or lies, or if he sells merchandise outside of the country when the government has forbidden it, then he trusts that God will save him and help him to complete his illegal transactions undetected. This is the trust of the other side, which is described by the phrase, the trust of the unfaithful, and by the verse, because you put your trust in fraud and corruption. This sort of trust is like a broken earthenware dish which has no hope for success. Even a person who engages in trade on a scale that is significantly larger than he is really capable of, and who borrows extensively from numerous people, and then trusts that God will help him to conclude his business profitably, this too is the trust of the other side. Instead, a person should maintain strong trust that even if he does not run such a large business, nevertheless, God will sustain him as is fitting. The intelligent person will be able to infer a great deal from these words about how to flee from the trust of the other side, which is antithetical to the Torah, and how to strengthen himself in holy trust, no matter how inferior a person he may be. Don't do dirty dealings. Doubt not dutiful divine downpourings. As always, thank you so much for learning together. If you enjoyed this lesson, please remember to like, comment, share, and borrow. And please God, we'll learn again tomorrow.